You also backed another horse though.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Took $8 Vegas night. $8.
Yep.
Betfair SP 5.
Yep.
So that's $4.40, $4.60 most corporates who are skimming you.
Rolling.
Cool.
I'm Jack Dickens, he's Pete Anthonys. Welcome to the Deep Dive, a news and review show coming to you each and every Monday from Betfair HQ.
It's very nice and shiny in here.
New camera, bit of sound.
Oh,
the content level's lifting a little bit with your influence.
Production values.
Got a new monster here, just charging through, getting it done, bit of sound. Hopefully this show will give you a little bit of an insight from a more of a punter's point of view as to what happened on the weekend. A more honest, a real aggressive look at the data and the betting. We'll be looking at the Betfair live markets mainly, because anything and everything that ever happens in racing, all the big goes, all the big drifters, they all get crunched back through Betfair. If someone gets hammered on course, I saw like Jumpy on the weekend, he got caught there right at the death on Friday night, but they'd try and punch that back through the fair. And all that information is on Betfair Live, so you can go there and make, I use it each and every day I'm at the races, as we probably misused a little bit yesterday, but we'll get to that later on.
Yep.
But it's a really good tool to find out what the market's doing. Should we start with the big drifter, Pete?
I think so.
Now, we're going to head to Mornington early first. The big drifter at Mornington.
Yes.
Race 7, the big race, the Ansett Luggage Cup or the Ansett Cup or some such name. Talk me through what happened now. FYI, I was on the horse at 350. I got set.
Yeah, I wasn't.
This is race 7, Douglas MacArthur at Mornington.
Should we have a look at some of these just images just coming up? So there was a fair amount traded, I think it's fair to say, late in the piece. So we're going
for Grand Final Day in Victoria, it was a lot traded.
Yeah, absolutely. Overall, if we have a look at the numbers matched, it was one of the biggest races in terms of the overall dollar values matched there at Mornington. So there was 338,000 matched for quite I guess it's just a provincial meeting, really. Yeah. Is that what we define these meetings as?
It's not a city meet.
No, certainly not. Anyway, Douglas MacArthur jumped to $3.91 Betfair starting price.
It was just completely and utterly friendless. And then how you handle the big drift it's a very hard thing to sort of have. Should you have a general rule or should you adjust to each day?
Depends on how confident you are and how well found you think the horse will be by the market. And typically speaking...
So I probably handled it poorly.
Probably.
Because I just kept betting.
As did I. Last 5 minutes of betting.
During the granny.
Well, what else are you meant to do? The game was already over anyway.
So I thought I'd better start betting again. Oh my God, it was awful.
So the last 5 minutes it's gone from $3.10 out to the Betfair starting price of $3.90. There was some fairly reasonable amounts of volume traded on that one horse by itself. More so than any other runner in the race.
The market focused on it heavily.
Exactly.
Fair to say.
But then what happened in the race?
Missed the start by a mile.
Yep.
How'd the market know I was going to miss the start? God, the market's good.
Hashtag they.
They knew. Missed the start. Benny Mellon was pretty good then, I thought. Didn't panic.
Yeah.
Just cruised up.
Yeah.
They were dropping anchor. Just rolled around them. You have to do that at Mornington. Found a spot sort of leading. Willow, being Willow, we're going to get to him later on, what he did to us on Friday night, but here we're against him and he just rode Valak outstandingly well.
Yep.
Got off the fence onto the arse of Douglas MacArthur. Douglas was gone before they got into the home straight at Mornington. It's only 200 metres straight, but at 400 out, it was the first horse beaten in the entire race. It was awful. Now, there's a deep stewards report to Douglas MacArthur and he's pulled up lame and will need to be, he's lame in the off foreleg. So there's a genuine excuse as to the horse's performance.
Yep.
But it is, how did they know that it was going to go so badly? There was a lot of money to lay it, and it's a fascinating it's the biggest drifter on the weekend, and it's fascinating for me.
Yeah. Look, in terms of what happened over the last 5 minutes of betting, it was a little bit of a warning signal. You trade any out?
No, just kept betting. Now, my take from this, my learnings. Lloyd Williams camp, respect the market and respect it above all else. If they drift, they're off. If they don't drift, keep betting. Yesterday, Homesman was really firm in
solid.
A really good race.
Yep.
It was cast and it was had a torrid run and still almost won.
Yep.
beaten by Black Up Bart at 191 Betfair SP. Thank God. So the market knows with Lloyd at the moment.
Yeah.
The market, I think the market's relevant to each sort of stable and setup.
Sure.
So Stokes, John Allen.
Yep.
Respect it. The market knows. Lloyd, market knows. But like David Pfeiffer yesterday, race 2 maybe at Caulfield.
Had no idea.
Prophet's Thumb, friendless. Maybe it's because it was drawn to get that sort of 3-back defence run. D-Lane got rid of that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Jumped well. He was
Perfect
3
ride.
wide with cover.
Yeah.
Bang, wins. Soft in the market.
Yep.
Sydney trainer, not a big trainer, comes down to Melbourne. The market doesn't know. But the market, the big money, knows what they're doing with the biggest stables down here.
Yep.
All right, what do we get to next, Pete?
Oh, look, what next? Shall we reel off into going into what happened at the Valley there on Friday night?
Yeah, we'll get stuck into the Valley. Now, the Valley was a pretty frustrating experience for myself. It's my favourite night of the year, probably. It's really when sort of the Victorians can get into spring. It's like footy's almost done. We've got 1 game to go, which was 1.5 quarters to go in the end. And then we can get stuck into racing full time properly. It starts to get the coverage it deserves in the media, etc., etc. Yep. Now, race 2 at the Valley, we saw Power Scheme open around 270, drift to about 330. I think at Betfair SP $3.38 perhaps.
Yep.
It paraded outstanding. It's a beautiful animal. Rider Mark Zara reported that the gelding would appreciate a more genuine tempo, a more spacious track, and may benefit from the addition of blinkers. A post-race veterinary examination failed to reveal any abnormalities. None of which, it didn't need any of these things at its previous start at Moonee Valley, where it went 1.4 lengths faster to the 600.
Yep.
And ran a better overall figure.
Yes.
So the spacious track is confusing. Maybe he means that I think the only thing I could take out of the run was that I'm massively team Power Scheme. I think this horse is a proper horse and I want to follow it anywhere.
Yeah.
I think the horse doesn't appreciate being inside other horses. So maybe do blinkers help that?
Probably not.
I'm not convinced it would, but I think maybe the fact that he was inside horses, he was behind the eventual winner, who was completely blessed in run. It was just a green light. Do what you want, Brett. Great ride, Brett Preble. You owned them. I think if the horse gets back to an outside draw, I want to be with it again.
Sure.
Building momentum, outside of horses. I don't think it liked it. That's the only sort of reason I can find it. It was disappointing.
You also backed another horse, though.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Took $8 Vegas night. $8.
Yep.
Betfair SP 5.
Yep.
So that's $440, $460 most corporates who are skimming you. Was it Craig Williams or was it like a 4 kilo claiming apprentice on this?
Oh, well, the name says C Space Williams. There's a C Space Williams up in New South Wales, though, who's an apprentice.
Well, you never know. But Craig was outstanding on Saturday. Rode some really nice races on Sunday. But Jesus, did he get this thing wrong at Moonee Valley? Snicked heavily early. I feel so sorry for Vegas night and my wallet because I've been on it every time it's come to the city. It was a dominant win, I think, at Pakenham on the synthetic. Came to the city, should have won, didn't.
Yep.
Slaughtered at every start. This horse can be followed big time Vegas night. It's a proper horse. Colin Little's an astute trainer who places them really well. It could have and should have won probably every start in the city this prep.
Yep.
And I think it's safe to say it should have won this race. Would you agree?
Yes. We'll leave it at that.
Vegas Night Stewards Report. Raced ungenerously through the early stages. Ungenerously. Then was allowed to stride forward, passing the 1200. Then raced 3 wide without cover. Became unbalanced upon straightening when brushed by Conqueror, who shifted out. Still ran second and almost won. It was an outstanding ride by Brett Preble, who was actually allowed to go. Let me just look this up. 2 lengths slower than it went at its previous start to the 600. So it got a little decrease.
Yep. It's just cruising.
Doing what it wanted.
Having a good time.
Whereas Legionnaire, who the form was probably franked by the fact that Snap Dancer SP $10 and probably could have won there on Saturday in the prelude. Legionnaire was snicked throughout by J-Mott to go 1.6 slower than it went at its previous start. So if you're a Legionnaire fan, I think you can stick with it too.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of poor rides in this race and horses can be followed. What's next, Pete? The Moir?
Oh, here we go.
Should we deep dive into the Moir?
Sure.
What did you make of the market moves early?
The market moves early of the Moir.
What was Nature Strip? It was like 280 to 360.
It wasn't wanted. I think most people were trying to hypothesise that the horse wouldn't be leading.
There was an owner's email coming out from it's getting around the traps. There's a bit of mail around that Chris thought it could get 1400 and probably was going to sneak for cover from one, which I reckon he probably tried to do. But given that Brian Park and Glenn Schofield wanted to sneak more aggressively on theirs on Ball of Muscle and Eduardo.
Who can sneak the most?
You can't sneak Nature Strip. The thing's a beast.
No.
It's a Ferrari. It's a complete and utter beast. Whereas Ball of Muscle's like, fine, Glenn, if you want to slow down, I'll slow down, mate. What do you want? And Eduardo, the poor thing, second up, no trial.
Yeah.
It's a speed horse. Let the thing roll. All you did was get behind Nature Strip. There is no world in where you're going to sneak behind Nature Strip, who does what it wants, cruising, going slow. It went 4 lengths fast, almost 4 lengths faster Nature Strip to the 600 than it did at Rose Hill or Randwick. But it's gone a lot quicker before, a lot quicker.
Well, for the class, it's only gone even.
If you sneak your horse, which is trying to get up to that Nature Strip level, behind it, at Moonee Valley over 1,000 metres, I think you're going to just bob off the fence in a Group 1 Moir and with momentum and run over the top of it, you're dreaming. It was an awful ride on Eduardo. It was completely and tactically inept.
Yep.
Anything else we should talk about? Because I'm starting to get pretty aggressive about some of the tactical rides early.
It's been a big weekend.
It's been a frustrating weekend, but I think anything in the Moir that was worse in midfield and made a nice sustained run all the way back to Winter Bride can be followed. Winter Bride's closed enormous and has run second last by some 10 lengths.
Yeah. Play on advantage.
Play on advantage. What else should we talk about, Pete?
Well, we've talked about drifters.
It's not all bad news, is it?
No. Some things also won. It was the big firmer.
The big firmer, we're going to go with race 9 at Caulfield, Harbour Views.
Yeah, that's fair.
What price did they sort of open it at?
What, in the early markets?
240,
yeah,
260, 280, I think some $3 even.
Yeah.
It started Betfair SP $1.80.
Yep.
So that's $1.60, $1.55 the corpse.
It was very firm.
It was a huge go.
Yep.
It was drawn in the car park. It sat 4 and 5 wide.
Yep.
It canted around them and absolutely pissed in.
Yes. It was just rock solid as well. You can just say, and late in the fair, last 5 minutes of betting, around that $1.90, $1.97 mark, and just slowly comes in, just trickles in.
It put him away with ease.
Yeah.
What did you make of it in the yard?
Didn't even get to see it in the end. I was running around upstairs.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I think it's a really athletic horse who will get further in trip. I don't know how much, what its level is, but geez, it put this field away pretty easily.
Basically back to the exclusion of all others. The only other thing that was even remotely supported late was Mr. Exclusive.
Who, at the 300, looked like it was half a chance until Johnny Allen let this thing go.
It's just amazing though, isn't it? Just bang on. That market was just, it didn't want anything else.
And they were right. The market's normally right, Pete.
Yep.
I just wish John Allen had ridden Tysonic like that in race 1.
Oh.
The day might have been a little bit different. On the day, Caulfield, now we're going to talk about Caulfield.
Yeah.
Which horses took you from the mounting yard? You missed the last parade, but we were there for all the others.
I was very taken by Alligator Blood.
Yep.
It just walked around, it was rock fit, looked great in the coat, had a couple of strappers alongside of it, just was walking along as if nothing bothered it.
Yep.
So for me it was strongly, not having really no idea of who this horse was, but the market was telling me as well, it was firm late on the fair, good support coming in for it. Had to be with it.
What did you make of Dalasan?
It had a strong key negative for me out of the mounting yard.
Which we're not going to talk about.
No. Look, for me, it's one of those horses that obviously has a heap of potential going forward, but it probably needs an upgrade in a few areas.
Yep. I thought the horse did everything it could, given where it was in the run and the way the race was run. So the 2 preludes were severely on-pace dominated.
Yep.
So anything that settled worse in midfield, if you've backed it in the futures for the grand final races, you're sweet, don't stress. As long as the race sort of changes and the track's a bit different, you've got a good bet there. I think any horse that was forward to midfield was blessed in run yesterday.
Helped out Blackheart Bart.
Oh, God, yeah. Pete backed it, thank God. We split it. The mailbag punting syndicate somehow survived.
Had it in the quaddie as well.
Yeah, but we didn't have Harbour Views.
And we didn't have the first leg in acting either. We did all the hard work in the middle.
TB on a leader at Caulfield, please.
Yeah, I know.
You better. All right, and what else should we touch on? Finish off here. The fastest last 6, 4 and 200 metres of the Moonee Valley meeting on Friday night. Got a thunder in race 4.
Yep.
Flew.
It was hanging out there at the back, just loitering.
A little bit of a snick early, I thought.
A little bit.
You following it?
How many more runs can we follow it for? We've been speaking about that in the Sydney pod, boys, with Mark Roden and Rob Scurry for a little while now.
He's a psychopath, apparently.
Yeah.
Severe mental problems, this horse.
They're the best ones, often.
The biggest overall figure at Moonee Valley, Pete, Nature Strip, no surprises, but I thought what was a little bit surprising was it was only 0.1 of a length faster than Princess Jenny in race...
It was earlier in the card, race 3.
Race 3. I think it's a stat stakes, I think.
Yeah.
Ollie,
was race 3,
Ollie had that thing under a hold.
Yep.
Probably ride of the night there for Ollie.
Yep.
Geez, he's riding well.
Just managed to extract it at the right time.
Yeah, there were some really nice runs in that race. I think if you deep dive back into that race 3 from Moonee Valley on Friday night, you'll find a few coming winners and you'll get better odds of them than you will say from the obvious races like the Moir.
Yep.
All right, Pete, my horse to follow from the weekend is Spanish Reef from Friday night from that race.
I'm going to keep following Snap Dancer. We didn't mention that in one of the parades of the weekend, but geez Louise, first time seeing that horse.
So your two parades of the weekend are Snap Dancer and Alligator Blood from Caulfield. My two parades of the weekend and horses I really want to follow are Loving Gabby and Power Scheme from Friday night at the Valley. Loving Gabby has returned in outstanding order. She has an engine on her to compete with anything I've ever seen. Like, it's a severe amount of rump there, and it's all just, it's twisted metal.
Yep.
It's outstanding. She's got a huge engine, and Power Scheme's just a real lad, pantherish walk.
Rob Scurry was onto it early. He made me back it from Japan for him.
Yeah, he was texting us on. He's watching them on racing.com.
Yep.
Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the show. Feedback's encouraged. We'll be back next Monday for another edition. Cheers.